Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon Dive. Daniel here. Okay, so we're back with part 2 of our Let's Play / review of Wander, the Cult of Barnacle Bay. And we are here with Tank and with Ross, and we are trying to escape this underground passage to get up to the surface to try to figure out what is going on with this evil cult of Barnacle Bay. Now there's a few errors we made in the last video. If you guys look at the comments, there's a guy named Tristan, I believe his name is, and he's kind of like the rules guru for this game. I've had some conversations with him briefly on Board Game Geek before, and he's actually, I believe he's actually the one who compiled this FAQ and errata sheet. But he pointed out some things, and then I realized some things. So between the two of us combined, you should have a really good idea of how this game is played. One of the first things I did wrong was I mentioned it, but moving into or out of a water space ends your movement. And what I completely failed to realize or failed to notice was that this first space is water. So the first turn would have been a little shorter for the heroes. That is one negative I have about this game. I don't like that rule. I don't mind the rule being when you move into a space of water, it ends your turn. But having it be both moving into and out of, I think really just slows the game down. But that's fine. We'll play it like it is. So from now on, going forward. Secondly, the brute here. When we moved here, this brute up here, he would have had line of sight, so he would have become active. So he would have had a turn at spot 5 here on the initiative track, and he would have moved once. And so he would have moved towards the heroes. So he would have moved down to here. And then lastly, I believe, was the way that I activated the group. So I was under the impression, and this is the way that I've always played this game, and apparently it is wrong, that once one enemy of a certain group is activated, the entire group is activated. But apparently that's not true. You do go by group, but within the group you go by an individual basis based upon, of course, line of sight. So that means that this archer over here is actually not activated yet. So we're going to move her back and we're going to face her the other way just to symbolize that these are not activated yet because they do not have line of sight to the heroes. They don't need to maintain line of sight. They just have to have line of sight one time to become active. All right, so yes, once again, we are here with Tank and with Ross. And I should mention, just for some people who didn't watch my unboxing and initial look at the game a while ago, that Ross is one of the Kickstarter characters. But all right, so we need to take care of these enemies on here so we can activate this ladder token. And I want to see what lies behind these darkness spaces and get that treasure up here as well, so we can hopefully get some new gear and make our characters a little more powerful. So we've gone through the initiative track one time, and so we are back at the top here, and we are back up with Ross. Now right here, we already have an engagement here. This enemy, this archer is active. Ross is here. So for Ross's first point of action, he is going to attack this archer. And again, he's going to use his throwing axes, which he does have clear sight. Nothing is blocking his line of sight. So we're going to roll 3 dice, and we're going to look for either those crit symbols or the critical symbols, or the range symbols. Also, one other thing that we forgot last time was that he has a reroll here because of his robe, he can re-roll one ranged attack. So, all right, so we're going to take our 3 dice here, and we're going to throw one of our axes at this archer and hope we do some damage. There we go. So we've got 1 hit and 1 crit, so that's 2 hits and a reroll. We'll reroll this one. And there's 3 hits. And if we look at our level 1 enemy sheet, our archer has 2 hit points and no armor, so she takes a mortal wound, removing her from the board. And now he gets an XP. So now each of our heroes has 1 XP. Okay, so let's see here. It is Ross's turn. He has another point of movement, or another point of action. So what we're going to do is, let's see here. We're going to actually have him stay there. I want to try to lure these, what are they called? The boomers down, I think with tank. So we don't really have a time limit in this game, so we can try to, or in this particular part of this scenario, so we can try to manipulate the enemies to bring them to us. We don't want to wait too long though, because this guy, this brute, is on the hunt. So let's see what we can do. All right, so I think we are going to have Ross just stay there, forfeiting his second action. If I'm planning this correctly, we'll see. I don't know. Because I don't want to be poisoned by these guys. So what we're going to do is Tank is going to take his first turn, and he's going to move there. Now when he moves here, enemies have line of sight from here to there. They can see past corners as long as just one corner of a wall. So these 2 boomers become activated. So when it's their turn on the initiative track, they are going to take 1 move and they will get to attack, but they only have melee attacks. So let's see here. For Tank's second turn, second point of action, he is going to move back. Okay, so now we go back to our initiative track. Archers. We have 1 archer on the board, but she does not have line of sight, so she does not activate. Okay, we have the boomers. Now the boomers were activated when Tank moved here, so they are going to take their movement now, and they only have a movement of 1, so they're going to both move down and advance upon the heroes. Next up is we have our brute. Our brute is here, and he's going to move towards the heroes. Now, enemies are not affected at all by water spaces because they have been corrupted by the water. They are more in tuned with the moving around in the water than our heroes would be. And then secondly, or last, we have our grunts, and none of our grunts have been engaged yet, so we are good. And we're going to go back to the top now. It's going to be Ross's turn. So for Ross's first point of action, he's going to again use his throwing axes. Man, thank God I got those. Thank God, because without a ranged attack, these guys can be pretty deadly. So he's going to take his first point of action, and he is going to chuck one of his axes at one of these boomers. And if we look at the level 1 boomers here, okay, they have no armor and 3 hit points. So we need to do 3 points of damage to kill 1. So let's see if we can do that here. All right, here we go. There is 1 hit, 2 hits, and a reroll. Okay, so that's a miss. But I'm going to use his holy robes to make my ranged attack reroll, hoping to get... Ah, there it is. Yes. All right, so we got a crit, and all right, so that's 3 hits. So one of these boomers is dead. Now what the boomer does is upon defeat, it poisons all close heroes, and close again is the space he was on, and then the spaces orthogonally. So no one gets poisoned there. And then that gives Ross another point of XP. So Ross now has 2. And he's going to use his last point of action to follow up with another attack on this boomer. And we have 1 hit. Uh-oh, this isn't looking good. But we do get 1 reroll. Let's hope for a crit here. Oh, no. Okay. So just 1 hit. So this boomer has 1 point of damage there. Okay, that's all right. But now let's see. So that was both of his actions. So now it's going to be Tank's turn. So I think what Tank is going to do, Tank is going to use his first point of action to move here. Okay. And that he moved out of the water space, so that ends that point of action. And now he's going to take his second action, which is going to be, let's see here. This brute can attack him. I think what he's going to do is he's going to go ahead and he's going to take his second point of action is going to be to move. So he's going to go 1, 2. And now this brute is going to be after him now. All right. So we need to go back to the initiative track here. We've taken Ross's turn. We've taken Tank's turn. We have the archers. No archers are engaged. We have the boomer. Okay, this boomer is engaged. And Ross is the target because he's the closest, being only 1, 2 away. So he's going to move up. And then he can do his melee attack, his close attack towards Ross, which is a attack of 1 damage. So Ross needs to block that. So we have 3 block dice, 3 defense dice from his ability of 2, plus his shield, plus his 1 for being the point 1 in the initiative. So we have 4 dice. So we just need to block 1. And there we've got plenty of blocks there. 1, 2, 3. We blocked 3 points of damage. So Ross does not take any damage from that boomer. Okay, and after that boomer, we have the brute. So the brute is going to try to take a massive swipe with his big meaty paw right against Tank here. And let's see, the brute does 2 points of damage. So let's see, Tank needs to block against 2. Tank has, he's got 2 defense there. He's got his shield, which gives 1. And then he also has his scaled helm, which gives another 1. All right, so we have 4 here. We just need to block 2. And we block 1. So we'll do 1 reroll here. And no, we only block 1. So he's actually going to take a point of damage. So we're going to remove a health token from him, bringing him down to 4 health. And let me see, did I forget any of their special? Oh, vicious counter. He did a crit defense. And so it's going to be 1 wound to a close attacking enemy per crit. So this brute is actually going to take 1 damage because Ross followed up his block with a counterattack. And let's see. And you know what? Ross would have also had a +1 defense roll because of his encourage, but he didn't need it. And I believe this wall does actually block this. Heroes, oh, it's only heroes in the same space, not close heroes. Okay, so we did that right. Okay, so now we're up to the grunts. No grunts are active. We're back to the top. Okay, Ross. Now, Ross wants to move back and attack so he doesn't get poisoned if he kills this grunt or this boomer who has 1 health. When you disengage from an enemy, if you're in the same space or close, you have to roll a dodge roll. And what you do is you roll your defense, which is going to be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's actually going to be 5 dice. And you just have to block 1 hit for regardless of how many enemies you're dodging from. At the beginning of your movement, You have to, if you're moving out of close range, then you have to dodge 1. So, okay, so we easily dodged that roll or that opportunity attack. So he moves back. That ends that action. For his second action, of course, he's going to chuck one of his throwing axes at the boomer. We need to get 2 hits. 1, 2, and a reroll. 3 and a reroll. 4 and a reroll. All right, total overkill. So we killed this boomer, bringing him up to 3 XP. Now, if he gets 1 more XP, he goes into the next level. And then we start spawning more enemies as things spawn. In addition, whenever one of the heroes goes up a level, you do a spawn right away. So we want to keep him where he is for now. So that was his turn. Now we're going to be at Tank. Now Tank is right here engaged with this brute, and Tank's just going to try to smack this dude right in the face with his hammer. And he's going to take 3 dice. And let's see, now these brutes are pretty powerful. They have 5 HP and they have 2 points of armor, so ouch. So let's see what we can roll up here with our attacks. Okay, so there's 1 hit, there's 2 hits and a reroll. So we've hit his armor. So anything now additional is going to cause damage. Nothing. All right, well, we have 1 more attack. We don't have any rerolls for his attack. So let's see here if we can do this. There's 1, 2 hits. We hit his armor, no rerolls. So, oh man, yeah, these brutes can be absolutely deadly. Or one thing we needed to do, let's see here, is the boomers. We need to take their initiative card off because their group is gone. We move the brute up and the grunts up, and now the brute actually has another point of defense, bringing his defense up to 3. So luckily I don't have to retcon anything. We missed anyways, so now his defense is 3. That we might want to try to manipulate the initiative track on our next turn. So the grunts are going to go, and no grunts are engaged, so no grunts are going to be activated. So now it is our hero's turn again. So I think what we're going to do is Ross is actually going to fall back for his first point of his first action. And actually he'll do it on his second action. So what he's going to do is first he's going to move. So he's going to move 1, and then he'll move, well, he'll actually move in here to give, he'll give Tank some support from his ability. Now for his second point of action, what he's going to do is he's going to fall back, which means he falls to the back and everybody else moves up. So now our brute only has an extra point of movement. Excellent. That's much better than having him do more attacks or more blocking. And so now Tank is in the first position where we really want Tank to be because he is the tank. And so now Ross's turn just went, so now we're back up to the top. Now we're at Tank's turn. So once again, Tank just wants to try to smack this dude in the head. He has, let's see, he has 2 armor. So Tank is gonna, for his first point of action, it's really hard to hit these brutes with level 1 gear, but let's see what we can do here. There is 1 hit and a crit, so that's 2 hits and a reroll. We'll roll that in the box. There it is. There's a point of damage and a reroll. And okay, so 1 point of damage. Man, I love exploding dice. That's such a fun mechanic. All right, so we're at 2 out of 5 now. Okay, second attack here. There's a hit and a reroll. So we've hit his armor. There's a hit and a reroll. And all right, so 1 more hit. So he's at 3, only 2 more hits. And he is gone. All right, so who's up next? Let's see, the archers, the brute. So the brute has an extra point of movement, but he's not going to move. He's in close range. And so he's just going to do his attack against the number 1 person. So we move tank to the number 1 spot. So he's able to be the tank now. And he is going to do 2 damage unless I can block it. But remember, now that I have Ross's power, which is to encourage, he will get a defense reroll if he needs it. So tank's defense is going to be 2 plus his shield plus his helm plus being a number 1. So we need to block 2, and we block 1, and we get a crit. So we block 2, and then we would also get a reroll from Ross, which wouldn't help, but we did block both. We're good. All right, now we're the grunts. None of the grunts have gone. All right, so now we're back to the bottom at Ross's turn. So Ross now has an extra point of attack, being down here. You know what? I guess at that last turn, Tank would have, I think, had 1 more die to attack with because he was at that initiative spot too. But that's okay. I don't think we would have, it probably would have balanced out because of the brute having that extra defense. So we're good. But now we're at Ross's turn, and Ross is going to throw some of his throwing axes at this brute. Let's try to kill this guy. Come on. All right, there's 1 hit. That's not going to do anything. I do have a reroll because of my holy robes. There's 2 hits. That's his armor and nothing else. All right, well, let's try that again. 3 hits. There's 2. Okay, we hit his armor. Now here's our reroll. 3. All right, we did it. We hit once. So that's 4 points. Okay, now we're back to tank. But Ross also had that extra attack, so we'll just roll 1 more die here. If we can hit 1 more time, he gets that extra attack for being in spot 5 there. See that axe there on spot 5? No. Okay, well, that's fine. It's now going to be Tank's turn. He's going to roll his 3 dice. Boom, boom, boom. Excellent. 2 goes past the armor. 1 more hit. The final point of damage kills him. But let's see if I can overkill just for fun. 1 point of overkill. And that's it. All right. So Tank killed this brute. And the brute gives 2 XP. Which now both Tank and Ross have 3 XP. They're doing excellent. They're all matched up. And now none of the enemies are engaged. So we kind of have a little time to breathe here. So we're going to go to the archers. They're not going to do anything. The brute is gone. So we move these guys up. Now we move Ross up. So now Ross has another point of defense. And it's going to be Ross's turn next turn. And I think that's where we're going to stop. So I'm going to put this gray die right there just to mark that it's going to be Ross's turn. And on our next turn, we should be able to explore some of these darkness areas and hopefully get that treasure, and hopefully find some treasure or maybe some non-combat, some cool events that'll happen. Right now, this mission here starts off very combat focused. So, all right, well, hopefully I didn't make too many egregious errors in this part. If I did, I'm sure Tristan will chime in and let us know, so he can keep us on the straight and narrow and make sure that people who are watching this actually learn the rules. But I'm having a ton of fun with this game. I love the tile. I really enjoy the art in this game. It's so colorful. I like the characters. I like their abilities. I think this game just has a really good balance. That's the thing I would say about this game is it's balanced, not in terms of like strategical or tactical mechanisms, but it's balanced in that it offers a lot of fun with the dice chucking and with the exploding dice, making it super exciting. you saw how you could move around to manipulate the enemy. So there is some good thought, there is some good tactical thought, but you don't get bogged down in it. With the High Tide expansion, there are just enough enemies to make things interesting. And with the colorful art, but with the kind of brutal nature of the story, it just, yeah, everything about this game is in balance. And I think that's one of the reasons why I like it so much. It's a complete package that is super fun to play, not too difficult. It does have quite a few fiddly rules and exceptions to rules and that kind of thing. But overall, it's an excellent game. I hope you guys are enjoying watching this. I think next time we will, depending on what spawns, we will probably finish up this part of this encounter and then move on to the second part of this encounter. So, all right, guys, well, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.